I think we still have people outside who are waiting to be let to get in. Okay. Okay. I think we're good to go now. So, good evening. So, welcome to the last and perhaps the final session or activity on the second edition of the Conference on Migration and Media Awareness in Hamburg. Like I said, it's the last session, and we will be looking at the topic, looking back, thinking ahead. This is an open platform for statements, petitions, demands, plannings, and agreements. This platform is actually filled with vibrant speakers, individuals you would not have had the opportunity to help them in a normal traditional conferences, and perspectives. We have 6 vibrant speakers from various media and its related backgrounds, who will actually take you through or take us through on their individual or organizational work as journalists and media makers. My name is Nima Chadama. I actually would be co-moderating this session together with my co-host. I haven't seen him, I don't know where he is. So Anas, actually, let me introduce my guest, my co-host actually. So Anas Abura, not Ananas, as I will joke with him, is a political, cultural, and social activist from Syria. Since 2015, shortly after his arrival in Hamburg, Anas has been collaborating with Kampnagel International as a dramatology and a curator by producing events, concerts, festivals related to migration and intercultural exchanges. Anas is also a member of the Migrant, an organization that he himself would actually tell us what Migrant is all about. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Nima. I would like also to introduce our host, Nima Yadima.
Jadama.
Jadama.
You just do like the Germans
you did
would
the
call
same
me,
joke
Yadama.
with me yesterday. So,
okay, now.
so I selected the good time to do that.
Oh, okay.
She is an award-winning feminist, social activist, and journalist from the Gambia, West Africa. Now based in Berlin, she is the founder and the producer of Nima Bantaba talk show on Alex Berlin TV. That's aimed to connect migrants, refugees, and women from diaspora community across the globe. Nima works part-time at the ROG agency as Migrant Media Network Community Manager and an advisor on issue of women and migration. She's also co-hosts the African Women in Trade monthly webinar online and is active in public speaking on issues regarding women and migration. Nima is currently a mentee with the mentorship program by New Deutsch Medienmacher, which media producer in English. Her mentor work with Deutsche Welle TV in Berlin.
Let me just say that, like he just mentioned, maybe he is one of those that is really striving hard to do inclusion. My mentor is actually with us here, Chiponda. Thank you for mentoring me. Thank you for taking me through. So it's actually Neue Deutsche Medienmacherin, and it's actually an organization for journalists with migration background, trying to pave ways for them to actually get into the German media. Of course, we all know how it is difficult to get into the German media if you are not a native German or first German speaker.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I would like to talk about Migrant just briefly. Unfortunately, not all of you could visit Migrant at this time. Maybe last time, 2017, we had more opportunity. But this time, because Migrant is under renovation, Migrant as a space is open space for migrants who arrive to Germany, to give them space where they can networking, communicate, produce projects or ideas. And also as a label, we do lots of events and lots of YouTube series on collaboration with Cam Nagel and New Media Socialism. You can find lots of our work on YouTube under the canal of New Media Socialism. So maybe next time we could have a visit to Migrant in the future.
Okay, that's it from the host and co-host. Now we start with the statement platform. Like I said, we have 6 vibrant speakers who would actually be taking us through about their individual works or organizational works in media or related media. And I'm delighted to first welcome our first speaker. Before she comes, and I'd just like to introduce her, Frankie Reid is a research and production coordinator with Migrant Martyrs EV in Germany, a platform that produces short educational video series on the relationship between climate change and migration, how to talk about migration and belonging and identity for young migrants in Europe. Before joining Migration Matters, Frankie worked in the social sciences department at Kiron Open Higher Education, an online learning platform or university, you call it if you like, for refugees and undocumented migrants in Germany and beyond. While studying remotely for her master's degree in refugee protection and forced migration studies from the University of London. Frankie, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. I'm Frankie from Migration Matters. First of all, thank you to the organisers and the moderators for inviting me here. It's a great opportunity. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we do at Migration Matters. So we started in 2015 as a response to the media narratives and the reporting on the the so-called refugee crisis in Europe at that time. Our founders recognised there was a distinct lack of nuance in the reporting at that time and wanted to equip people with both journalists and the public at large with the knowledge to form more balanced opinions and to just understand that migration is a normal thing, it's a normal phenomenon in society. It's as old as time and it's not going anywhere, and that's kind of our general motto for our work. So we produce educational short video series that are free to use in all non-commercial settings. They're all on our website and they are on our YouTube. We have produced series from like a Migration 101, which is just a really basic introduction to the topic. And we started first of all with academics. We featured academics and experts from the field, so practitioners, social workers, that sort of thing, educators, sharing best practices from their work and academics sharing their research. And we packaged it in a way that was a little more accessible to the general public. So we've covered topics from integration, belonging, identity, to the relationship between migration and climate change, as Nima mentioned, and most recently we have done, for a project called I'm European, we've been working alongside organizations in Poland, Estonia, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and Finland to produce visual stories, so videos for teachers, high school teachers, students, young journalists, and journalism students to, again, improve the conversations that people are having about migration and insert a bit more nuance and detail into these conversations. So the first series that we produced for this project is called I'm European, Young Migrants and People with a Migration History Share Their Stories. We're actually going to see the series trailer for this. It is a platform for young migrants from all of those partner countries that I just mentioned to share their experiences and their stories of how they found a sense of identity, how they belong in their country, the country that they live in, which is one of the partner countries I mentioned. And and to just kind of try and involve the young people that this series is aimed for, and show them that, you know, you can be a migrant too if you want to be, and maybe think about the people in your family who have migrated from places, you know, like Poland. There's a lot of emigration from Poland, and a lot of the countries in the project there is a lot of emigration as well as immigration, and to just think about it in a slightly different way with role models, perhaps, of young migrants that they can hear from. So yeah, if we can watch the series trailer now, that would be great.
So we are more or less ready. Yeah, it's challenging to be a migrant in the beginning.
I enjoy living in Bremen and I feel like home here.
I felt very integrated when I came, and then it just kind of was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm very different than these people.
Everything was hard. Looking for an apartment.
Connecting with people has been pretty challenging.
They see the color of my skin, they automatically assume where I'm from.
For more than 2 years, I felt always like a stranger.
People are like, but you don't look Polish. Where are you actually from?
Oh, your Czech is amazing. You're from Czech? My response is, yeah, I like also your Czech. You know, your Czech is also good.
People would come to our mom and be telling her, oh, you have such a cute twins, but where are they from?
It doesn't matter if you feel like you belong. They don't think you belong.
Fun and happy.
Curious, open-minded.
Occasionally funny, definitely crazy.
Energetic and annoying.
Yeah, everybody is afraid of me. That's why.
I am European! Or is that too much?
Right, thank you. So that's a little taster of the work that we do at Migration Matters. We also recently, as part of the same project, released a 2-part mini-series which actually features Nima and Chaponda, as well as Ferda Ataman, who's a co-founder of Neue Deutsche Medienmacherinnen, and they're talking about the need for diversity and representation at all levels of journalism and the media industry, both in personnel and also in the topics that are covered. And again, this is made with mainly journalism students and young journalists in mind. They're going to be used in trainings for journalists, but also for teachers to take back to their students in high school. We have a very quick trailer for that series as well.
Sehr lange überhaupt nicht geöffnet.
Migrants are much more in the news when something really bad happens.
Increasing representation in media is extremely important.
Aber es gibt immer noch Redaktionen in Deutschland, die komplett weiß sind.
Without a diverse media, there is not really a balanced media.
Der Journalismus bildet ja die Gesellschaft ab, sollte er zumindest.
That's important, just that people understand that their way of seeing the world is not the only way of seeing it. Oh, okay. That's good. Okay.
So that was an issue that I know has been mentioned previously in today's events, but it's definitely something that I think is not discussed enough in public discourse, the need for diversity, and that affects the kind of news that is put out into the world. This year we've been focusing on the voices of migrants and of the people that we're trying to reach in our videos, so like journalists and teachers, but previously we've used academics and experts, as I mentioned. But so next year we are focusing on building our connections with other organizations, partnering on events and screenings of our videos and hosting other speakers. And so I unfortunately have to rush to get my train now, but please send an email. It was on the screen earlier. Please send me an email or reach us on social media. You can find us on YouTube and our website, migrationmatters.me. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I know you actually have to rush, but it's planned that we actually ask one question to every person. So I know you guys give voices to migrants. Are there opportunities that you also provide for them, not just telling their stories by sharing it for educational purposes, but are there opportunities as well?
In our videos, do you mean? In a normal sense. That's something we would like to do, definitely, and I would say we do that through including migrants in the videos that we use. In fact, our team are all migrants as well, so in that sense, yes. But at the moment, we are a small team with a small budget, and so we're kind of limited in some ways, but we definitely want to continue to include as many migrants and people from different backgrounds in our videos for various different topics. I have to go now, but thanks very much. And yeah, it was great to speak to you all.
Safe journey back to Berlin. Actually, I was surprised. I didn't know that this trailer was going to be played. But like I said, this trailer is actually the video actually inspired me, myself, even though I am there. So thank you very much on that. Unfortunately, we would not be having room on questions, so you can do that later on to talk to them, maybe do side talk. So Anas would actually introduce the next speaker.
Yeah. Hi again. I would like to introduce our next speaker. Unfortunately, I think it's too loud. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not here today, but he already sent us his presentation, video presentation. Adam Labaran, Vice President of Refugee Union in Portugal, with a demonstrated history of working in the non-profit organization management industry, skilled in international relations, civil society, integration, election, and rule of law. So now we're going to see what he sent to us.
Ms. Adam Labaran. I am right here in Ghana, sending my greetings from Accra, the capital city. And as well, not so happy because I'm not there in person, but I really appreciate being given this platform to talk to all of you, just sharing about myself and also the work we do back in Portugal. So, I am the Vice President for the Union of Refugees in Portugal, or the Refugees Union in Portugal, which is União de Refugiados em Portugal. And I'm the Director for Social and Cultural Activity for the Forum Refugee, which is Refugees Forum in Portugal, whereby we have a protocol working together with the High Commissioner for Migration in Portugal. We have our office in Lisbon where we do work with them in order to integrate the refugees and migrants in Portugal, or the newcomers or the relocation refugees who are in Portugal. So, regarding migration in Portugal and how we work with migrants. In Portugal, at present, to say from 2010, I know there are over 445,000 regular migrants residing in Portugal. So, accounting for about 4% of the total population. What we do as União de Refugiados, working together, meaning Refugees Union in Portugal, is to help the migrants or the asylum seekers or refugees with their integration into the Portuguese society, or to say the Portuguese community. So we do help them by changing the narrative, helping them with their education, which is learning the language, which is most important for us. And then we also help them with documentation process. There is one thing I would like to mention, which I forgot to tell you about. The reason why we have UREP, the reason why we have the Union of Refugees in Portugal, or the Refugees Union in Portugal, which is União de Refugiados em Portugal. This organization, our organization, was created on the 10th of May, 2013. We formed it together with different migrants and refugees communities here in Lisbon, in Portugal. But today, of course, it's expanded and it's all over Portugal. With the aim, one specific aim of promoting and integrating migrants and refugees into the Portuguese community or society. With several BAVs of experience in intercultural mediation with refugees from different origins to understand their needs. Different origins of these migrants to understand their needs, and committed to contributing to the well-being of all migrants and refugees in Portugal. UREP, through our actions, intend to understand the needs of these migrants and refugees and collaborate with other responsible institutions, which is why we've collaborated with organizations like the High Commissioner for Migration, organizations like Welcome Refugees, organizations like ABRIP, which is an also organization for migrants and refugees in Portugal, for the development of effective response, contributing to a well-defined and successful implemented strategy in order to help them. That is what we do. That is what we aimed at. And our aim is not just to support refugees or to support women or refugee children, but also to support migrants in the exercise of citizenship through intercultural mediation in order to ensure their full integration when it comes to the field of documentation, when it comes to the field of what? Of labor market, for them to be able to have a life, to be accepted without discrimination. For these migrants to have their potentials seen and accepted, to be given the opportunity to do good. And that good is not only for them, but we know, I believe that if a migrant is being seen by his potential and being given the opportunity to do good, to work, being given the document, being allowed to live, to have daily bread for his family, kids, parents, children, brothers, sisters, siblings, then this is going to be also the benefit of that country. Why? Because this migrant is just going to work as well to pay tax, which is amazing. So that is why we are making sure to ensure their full integration, providing access to means of social inclusion that dignify them in harmony with the law. And believing in unity and interdisciplinary work as an answer to the challenges which demand direct accompaniment to solve the panoply of social problems that the daily barriers present them as obstacles and that demand constant solution. We will keep doing the good work because we are helping them. We have a lot of them. They come to us asking for completion of their CV, which is curriculum, to look for job. They come to us, help them book appointments with Social Security, with the Finance Department office, which is the tax office. They come to us asking us for help. Maybe they want to go to the migration or to the regarding their documents to go for an appointment or to try to renew their documents, their residence permits, and we are here to help them and we are helping them. They need information, even about common beautiful restaurants where they can get great food to eat, where they can be able to have a beautiful moment regarding renting apartments, regarding which good beach to go to swim in Lisbon or in Portugal in general. We help them. We are here to help. That is why our motto says refugees help refugees or migrants help migrants. To put it that way, because we work with both of them. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to give this presentation. I am grateful and I am really, really happy that I was able to do this with you. And I hope you all have fun and enjoy. If there's any questions for me, you can get my email from the organization. They will give it to you, or you can ask Larry directly. He's going to give you my email. I'm really pleased and happy and delighted that I was able to talk and tell you a little bit about myself. Thank you so much and have a wonderful conference and enjoy your beautiful time in Hamburg. Bye from Ghana. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Adam, and I'll say Akwaba back to Ghana. So the next speaker, I have to be careful how to pronounce her last name. Since yesterday, she's been warning me. Don't worry. We have Rufine Songué. She is the regional coordinator for Netzwerk, medien.vielfalt, based in Freiburg, South Germany. The network Connect Media produces groups from the region of southwest of Germany. Rufine is the project coordinator also for Interkulturelle Verein Freiburg, EV, and Zwischenraum, a safe space for refugees that organizes empowerment workshops and cultural events for refugees. She is also a radio journalist and media trainer at Radio Dreieckland Freiburg, my former place, a graduate in literature and media studies, Master of Arts at the University of Bayreuth in Bayern. Welcome, Rufine. This is the disadvantage of being short. No problem.
Can I?
Yeah, or you can use this.
Thank you, Nima. So, creating our own space is what counts the most, and it is what this is all about, this conference. But why am I saying that? Let me go back to where this whole story started. As I came to Germany, it was in March 2012. And I started studying 1 year later at the University of Bayreuth, as Nima said before. Sometimes we used to get together with other students, international students. As an international student, you sometimes just hang out with other international students because of the programs that are organized by the university for you, because of the language classes. So in those evenings, we always have like conversation about where are you from, and since when have you been living in Germany? And I remember when someone was saying, okay, I've been living in Germany since 6 years, then people would say, oh, you are a German already. And the person would say, no, I'm not a German. Back in the days, I used to think these people did not want to get assimilated to Germany, as if it was bad to be a German person. So, but I didn't think so much about it. Anyway, for me, they were Germans. So now I'm thinking, okay, how long does it take for a person to be German? How long does it take for a person to feel a German? So, but back in the days, I didn't think about it. Some months ago, I met one guy originally from Togo who had just arrived in Freiburg, and he was living in the first arrival camp there in Freiburg. So I met him in one of the events organized by our Voice, the Refugee editorial by Radio Dreieckland, where I work with, and we used to organize this kind of events. So we talked a lot, and he asked me, how long have you been living here? And I said, more than 9 years already. And he said, oh, you're a German already. And I said, no, I'm not a German. And I even added to that, not at all. So I am sure this answer did not convince him. And, but for me, it brought me to think a bit deeper. I was asking myself, why do I, or what did the people back in my university years insist on the point that they were not Germans? Was it a hell no, no way, I am not a German, I don't want to be, or no, I am not accepted as a German, I'm not considered as a German. So this thing is really deeper. And I think it's half of both. I think it's a no, I am not accepted, considered as a German, and a hell, I don't want to get assimilated. So the no, because maybe we don't want to lose our own identity, and hell, because they don't consider us, they don't accept us as a German. So I mean, when you are looked down in an office, when you are the only one being controlled, for example, in the train station, in a bus, when you are asked what you need here in your workplace, or what you need here at your home, at your own home, then definitely you get the feeling that you don't belong here, and you own this feeling, you perpetuate it, and you refuse to get assimilated to those people who refuse you. But we are here now, and most of us will not go back, at least not now. So, but how to stay in a place where you are not accepted? It's about creating your own space. If your story is not told, then you tell the story yourself. If you are not heard in the media, then you create your own media or join those who already exist. This is what Larry did in 2014 as he created the Refugee Radio Network. This is what we did in Freiburg in 2017, where we created Our Voice. At Our Voice, we produce a radio show every Wednesday, where refugees can tell their personal stories, share experiences, bring up topics which are not told in the mainstream media. Refugees are being trained as media makers because they do not have this opportunity in other structures where they are asked for a C1 level, or where they are asked for a working permit, which is not just attributed to them. At Our Voice, we decided that we need a physical place, a room, which we call the Zwischenraum. Nima mentioned it before, which is meant as a safer space for refugees. It is a place where people come to have a rest, to get out of the boring life of a camp, and also to develop ideas about specific projects. The project has started since 2019, and we have screened, the Zwischenraum started 2019. It is a place where people come with their own ideas. They can build up, they can create things. For example, it is in the Zwischenraum that one refugee woman came up with the idea of having an Afro Film Club, which is a series of film screenings of film made and produced by African filmmakers in Freiburg. The project has started in 2019, and we have screened already in different cinemas in Freiburg. The next movie that we are going to screen is Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi, like the adaptation of the book. It is in the Zwischenraum that a refugee came up with the idea of Africa Day, which is our main event of the year. We celebrate it every 3rd of October. For those who know, it's like the German Unity Day. So we decided to do it on the 3rd October because we want to show that Africans and Black people are and have always been part of the German history. It is also in the Zwischenraum that we decided not to do this work alone. While 50 people will be listening to Our Voice, our show, and will be impacted positively, 50,000 other people will be listening to the racist show in the mainstream media. those same racist shows, which contribute a lot to the fact that we are not accepted. We are looked down in the street. We are being the only one controlled in the bus or in the train station. We are asked what we need here in our workplace, in our home. Our solution was to get connected to more of us, to empower each other, to join forces, work together, and have a bigger impact. This is how we created Colorful Voices. It is a common podcast platform of refugee radios and migrant radios from all over Germany. It is also our online magazine, which you can find on Instagram and Telegram. We produce anti-racist, intersectional, and post-migrant content. We have built a network with so far 14 editorial groups in different cities of Germany. Our network is called Netzwerk, medien.vielfalt, and that is what I am representing today. I am talking for our voice, Freiburg, for Common Voices in Halle, for Migrant Mom Mike in Essen. For We Are Here We Speak Up in Kassel, for Refugee Voices of Mannheim, Diversity Media Immigration Broadcast in Nuremberg, Radio Connection in Berlin, and much more. The network is still open for more transcultural and transnational content and projects by migrant people. So feel free to join us on this journey and let us together create our own space in this society and make it more diverse. Thank you very much.
Okay, belonging, identity, empowerment, inclusion is what I am personally being able to learn from your speech. So we haven't seen each other since 2018, I think, and we used that breakfast time to reflect because we started the Our Voice project together, and we were like, I was in Laura Freiburg and I couldn't belong. And for me, it was like I was there, but my soul was not there. No matter what, I have to leave this whole region. And she just came from Bayreuth because she couldn't belong there. And she went to Freiburg. It was like, boom, everything was okay. I moved to Berlin. I'm like, yes, I have arrived. And this takes me to a question. You've created all of this for the refugees and migrant empowerment and so on. How do you help them belong if they are in situations like we were?
How to help them belong? First of all,
get to their passion, doing what they want, let's say.
Like, exactly. This is the idea of the vision home, for example. So the main idea is for our voice is first to let the people tell their stories. So by telling their stories, they will be empowered first. This is like the empowerment part of this work. So we try always, and we also organize events like empowerment workshops for also the people to say, okay, you have to start your own thing. And the way, like the one step forward was like with this vision where we said, okay, this is your space for ideas, for your ideas. When I take the example of the Afro Film Club, the woman came and she saw the room and said, wow, this looks really nice. And because we put a bit couch and so on, and we said, this is your space. It's just the space for you. You can feel free and think about what you want to do here. If you want to just come and rest here and sleep, you can do it. So she said, okay, I have this idea. I want to organize the Afro Film Club. What can we do? And I liked the idea so much that there is a possibility to apply for fund for Sparkasse. So, and I saw this opportunity, we wrote this, and we could, because you can apply for 1,000 euros, and we got it. So we applied, and it's so easy. I just wrote some sentences about it, and then we got it, and that is how we started. Then we got, for example, like cooperation with different cinemas, like Eka Film Club is like cinema from the university, club from the university. They used to screen one movie every month, so we cooperate with them. We cooperate with other cinema from Freiburg. So most of the thing is it's not even much money, but trying to get the connection to make the people being able to do what they want to do. And this is one step to let them, because when you see that this one small project idea that you had, and it's being done, like it's made possible, then you will go for like the next step. And that's the way we try to make the people feeling that they belong here. And this also the space, the Zwischenraum, the idea, that's why it is a safer space. It's like, it is my space here. Nobody will come and bother you here. This is the idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm not prepared for our next guest because the point when I knew that he's our next guest, I was surprisingly proud of that. Let me introduce you to Moaeed Shekhane, well known as Mo. Most of you have met him at the info. He was greeting you at when you arrived every day. Mo, he started, or I met Mo personally since almost 5.5 years, more or less. We were together in the same camp. Mo, what I see personally on him, that he reflects how the youth can get over the consequences of our bad condition in our country. Because both of us came from Syria, and he already established his career in Germany somehow as an artist, as an co-founder, or founder, not co-founder, founder of Darb Attabana Youth Club. Let me ask Mo to be here and talk more about his project.
Hi, good evening, yes. I'm really bad with speech, but I will try my best. Actually, like Darb Attabana, it started from 2021 this year, but it was behind that story of how I started being an artist here in Germany. I never went to theater. How much time I have? Could I have like 10 minutes? Okay. And when I came to Germany, I studied civil engineering in Syria. I never went to theater in all my life. I was playing football when I was young in Syria, and when I came to Germany, I also played football, and then I realized how the society in Germany doesn't accept me. And then I came back to Hamburg, and because I know Anas, how he produced me that from the refugee camp. And then it was my lucky day when I entered Migrant Bulletin, who founded by Mr. Larry and Nadine Yessen, and also like some of the Migrant Bulletin team. And there it was starting my process of learning what it means art and culture, and how you can find the power on the stage, what you can't like have it in like society, or it's not acceptable in society that you can use it on a stage and use the power of the art. And here like I grow up, and I went with this process where I had like difficulty with finding my identity, because I'm in the German society. I still like the Syrian boy. Oh, he's Syrian, he has different color, different hair. But also when I talk to my family by like FaceTime, they told me, "Hi, you act like German now." What? German? Syrian? I didn't know. And then it was the art. It was where I could find my identity. Then it was my identity that I'm more, what I can do as a young person in this society. And then it was like the beginning of the idea, and then it was my first application I wrote with Nadine Yessen, and it was called Diaspora Youth Club, where it was like giving a platform for young people. They had like kind of problem with identity, like for example, like Turkish people born in Germany, live in Germany, they go to German school, but still they are the Turkish people. And when they go home, they get judged from the Turkish society or the Turkish community that they act like German. And unfortunately, because of Corona in 2020, we couldn't continue with this project. And then in 2001, we tried to develop the project and the idea. And we call it Darb Attabana Youth Club, because Darb Attabana, it means in Arabic, like Milky Way, Milchstraße. And the idea of it to open like a platform for every environment, everyone, if you are from the galaxy, from everywhere. Whatever your background, whatever your color, whatever your gender or sexual identity or education or even social background, you are welcome. We can learn with tools, with knowledge. and develop it in a way of learning by doing. Express yourself, take you serious. You can have a mic and talk and have platform. And I think we're still in the process of also how to use media with young people, that also we take them in a way of like how they think about it, or how is like their perspective about it, not just also force them to do something that we see it's right. And that's it. And I want to thank also Mr. Larry again to give me this platform that I could talk about this, and thank you.
Thank you, Mo. Okay. I think it's actually just a coincidence that I have to introduce the three speakers that I have to introduce are all my colleagues. The last person I'm going to introduce, not the last speaker actually, is a colleague, Benedictus Agbelom, currently a project manager for Migrant Media Network, MMN, under Rogue Agency, Open Culture for Critical Transformation. It's an initiative that provides potential migrants with reliable information and training on migration issues and social media to actually mitigate propaganda, hate speech, and misinformation on social media concerning irregular migration or human smuggling or returning migrants. Benedictus also doubled as the field guide or resource manager for the Defy Hate Now project, a counter-volunteer extremism online and offline project in Cameroon. He is currently the CEO and a founder of a student job, SGH, in Ghana, a social enterprise with focus on youth, self-empowerment opportunities, a peer-to-peer network, community and information center for students and graduates in Ghana. Herzlich willkommen.
Do I use this one? Oh, this is funny. Hello, thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Larry, for inviting me here. I see my colleague here, Susie. Thank you very much. And I want to ask a quick question. Susie, have I been promoted to project manager?
I promote you.
Okay. So my name is Benedictus Agbelom, as Nima already mentioned, and I work with Rogue Agency, Open Culture and Critical Transformation. Most importantly, for us, it's a space where we create and co-create and share, and we are open source as well, so everything that we are creating, we are able to share with our communities and make sure that our communities make good use of them and also share as well with their communities. And I work with student jobs as an initiative where I self-created with a colleague of mine. When we came here, we were both diaspora students. When we came here, we realized that going back home, going to school, you always have to depend on your parents. You have to take money from them. You have to take financial support as well from them. And we realized over here is a different narrative. Most of the students have to work and go to school at the same time, which is something that we can use as a tool to self-empower our African youths. Next slide, please. So MMN currently operates in these regions. We are predominantly in Africa, but now we have the demand for the diaspora here in Germany, because the diaspora feel that there is a need to create this space where they can talk about their experience, share their experience, and understand each other to be able to relate. We operate in Ghana. We started operating in Ghana in 2019, where I was a diaspora mentor. I undertook the training in 2019, training of trainers, which we were taking through social media and migration training. After I received this training, I felt the need to give back home and give back to the society, as I grew up I came up from a privileged society, and I realized that everyone has the opportunity to be equal, and why don't share the same opportunities that you have with others? So I was immensely attached to this project, and I actually was one of the first initiators within this project, although it was initiated officially by Rogue Agency. So I took the opportunity to go back to Ghana, do the stamp tissues, the reach out, talk to the youth, talk to the school kids, tell them exactly how it feels like to be in Europe, the expectations about Europe, and also try to counter the myths about Europe to them. And 2021, we also found the need that Gambia has a big population of the diasporans here who come in through irregular migration. We are not supposed to mention, is it too? But yeah, so we started operating in March in Gambia, and we have a wonderful feedback because we go onto the communities. I'll go through that, but most importantly, going to the grassroots, talking to the teachers, talking to the parents, talking to the guardians, talking to the students, talking to the elders in the community to be able to spread the information about irregular migration, human trafficking, the risk involved in traveling backdoor. I was here when we were talking about how we represent the stories that are being told and being said about migration, how it affects the image of Africa. But throughout the conference, I've managed to speak to irregular migrants, regular migrants and irregular migrants, I'll say, outside the conference region, but regular migrants who have told me, okay, living abroad is something that we'd like to do, but is the journey worth it? Going through all that struggle to come here, is it worth it? You can also do something back home, which is a positive alternative. So within our diaspora network, we try to bring together and connect the diasporans, most importantly, the scholars, the returning migrants, the irregular migrants, and the potential migrants. In doing so, we create a synergy where they share ideas, they talk about personal issues that they feel close and attached to, that they want to share with someone. And we listen to these stories and help them through our mentorship and counseling program with our local coordinators. Also, they go through the diaspora moderated workshops back home. They liaison with their local coordinators, which we pair them to a local coordinator. For example, Ghana has 5 local coordinators who are in 8 different regions. And in Gambia as well, we have local coordinators in all the regions. 4 local coordinators in the region. So normally we try to engage the diaspora and the local coordinator, the diaspora mentor and the local coordinator to have this kind of exchange, and also to help spread opportunities back home and opportunities abroad, to bring it to the limelight where they can be able to harness these opportunities. Now, what we do is a continuous process whereby we don't have a stop, and it is as long as we provide information and credible information to potential migrants, we want to make it a point that these migrants take up this information. They don't only just listen to the information, they act upon this, and we co-share this information with our family members, our friends, and our guardians, and our parents as well, because it is a chain where we need to break up from this chain, where we have our podcasts. We normally do these podcasts and the radio outreaches in our local languages within the region, so that the inhabitants in these specific areas can understand what we are talking about. They can relate to the stories, and they can also share these stories in the languages in which they understand. We also do workshops and online events where we call on speakers to engage the diaspora and also the local communities in migration training and also opportunities back home. We realized within the course of the project that students were more importantly targeted because they are the new generation. They are the regular migrants who are frustrated within their study period and they want to travel abroad. There are also people who realize that the economic standard of the country is not good and that they want to leave. But most importantly, the students who are future leaders, they must stay in schools. They must complete their studies. They must be able to finish their education and move on and become the key leaders that we need in the society. The community outreaches also is being done through the radio events and also through the USSD system. Now, in Ghana, we have the USSD system where we publish our information. It is on supplementary unstructured service data, which is a form of communication between the service provider and the network. The service provider of the network and then the phone on its own. And this platform creates an avenue for us to share our information offline in real time, and making sure that potential migrants access this information. And of course, this service is free of charge. And these are some of the expressions of our events that we organize. We organize workshops here in Berlin. Here in Germany, we do some workshops as well. Our diaspora mentors also do within their organizations and their regions. They also do workshops. We do outreaches. We do panel discussions. We also do community outreach, which is very important. Just like the Nima Bantaba, there's something in Ghana called By the Fireside. So By the Fireside is a group of people sitting together, talking about issues that are present. Mostly it was stories in the beginning, but narratives have changed now, and we're using this sort of meeting avenue to talk about pressing issues in the localities, and also create avenues and opportunities, share them with the youth so they can harness these opportunities. Now, another chapter which we, in our field guide, forgot to mention, and already my colleague talked about our field guide and some of the tools we use in her presentation. But our focus now is women in migration. It's something that we need to look at how we incorporate the role of the diaspora woman in migration, also the reasons why they migrate and come here. And one thing I would want to add to that is there is now a need for trauma healing, which I would say that most of the women and girls, when they migrate here, they become depressed, and they need to go through a phase where they are now they get out of their isolation, and they are able to socialize and gain economic avenues from these socializations that they do with their fellow women. A reason why I would think that we would have a wonderful collaboration with African women in trade. It's also something that we would like to talk about later. Thank you. Okay, how do we change the story, the narrative behind it? I think when we talk about the narrative and storytelling, we are looking at how we came here, what we did here, and what we are still doing here. And as a Black diasporan, I would say that I came in through a regular means. My story is not so different from any other person, but it is important that I tell the story the way I see it, the way I saw it, making sure that I'm being truthful about it, I'm being accurate about it, I'm being factual about it. And these are ways where we can be able to come out and say that, okay, it is fine that we have negative stories or bad image being represented about our origin or our story in general, but most importantly for us to have this dialogue and say that yes, we necessarily didn't portray ourselves right when we came here, but we have the avenue and we have the space to be able to do that. So I think when we try to change the narrative and shifting the power, we do that through creating and coexisting with the already existing cultures here, making sure that we are able to integrate and include ourselves, and also being able to do that, we now have a bigger picture of who we are, and where we are going to. So one very important thing that we try to do is we are not telling anyone not to migrate. It is something that we do not do, most especially, but everything that we do is to try to inform potential migrants, give them the facts, give them the real life scenario, make sure they have a plan, make sure they know what is there for them, where they are going to, what they are going to do, how to survive there, and the documentations they need to survive there. We do this through our radio activities as well. So in Ghana, we have, as I already mentioned, we have all our local coordinators having radio programs, which is Stammtisch. They have the Stammtisch on the radio, making sure that participants can call in and enjoy the conversation and also learn from the conversation. We mostly include returnees who are returning migrants in our events, so they can also share their experiences. And I would say that we have every month, from the beginning of the project, we have twice every month radio shows from our local coordinators, as well as the MMN Voices, which is our podcast series. Our podcast series is something that we try to engage the diaspora in, making sure that they have an open conversation, they share their experiences, and we use these experiences because they trust us that we can make good use of these experiences. And we give them the opportunity to be able to share their experiences on our platform, which is the podcast, MMN Voices. So how do we use these stories? How best do we use these stories? I think we mentioned over the period of time that I've been here, I've had a couple of panelists talk about how do we use these stories, where do we use these stories, who uses these stories. And I believe we as the media, we play a big role because I don't see any linkage between the local media and the international media. I think if there is a synergy there, they will be also gain much in-depth knowledge about what they are perceiving as the truth or the news they are reporting or the information, the credible information, and also creating a positive alternative for that information. We do this also using our hashtags where we try to link the idea of think before you click, meaning that you think about your journey before you make the move. And of course, think before you click, meaning that most migrants get their information on, potential migrants I'll say, always get their information on social media or traditional media and also from friends and family. So we say that always before you make a bold decision on your migrant journey, think before you click, plan before you pack your journey, and also smart migration, which is something that I'll go into details in the next slides. Now, as I said earlier, we're trying to create a tool where we'll be able to report facts about migration. Spreading false information, fake news, is something that make people do not make informed decisions prior to their migration journey. And I believe that this tool, as we've been using in Ghana, and also is the best practice that I would recommend any journalist who is willing to report on fake news and fact-checking on migration news would be able to use this tool to spread fake information to warn potential migrants about the journey and give them the opportunity to also use that to warn other migrants about the journey. Now, I would say that we all play a part in migration, and irregular migration especially, and not so much have been heard on the African continent in this workshop regarding that. We always talk about the internal migration here in Europe, but most especially the root causes of the problems. And for us, it is important for us to advise young Africans on the benefit of migration, making your decisions, specific decisions that you want to make. You take time to measure them, you take time to make sure they are attainable, you go through all these goals and make sure that you are able to have an informed decision prior to your migration, as well as advertise skilled immigrant visa. I think if these structures are put in place and is advertised well, potential migrants would know sources of information, where they can go to, how they can apply to get visas, so they don't come through the irregular migration process. Provide job opportunities for skilled young Africans in Germany. I think also another way how we can also integrate the migrants living here in Germany, the foreign-born Germans, and the foreign-born African diasporans, is also being able to give them the platform where they can acquire jobs, give them the network where they deserve, and making sure they have the synergy between the diasporans who are already in the industry, the career developers, and also talent acquisition managers. So they're able to have a wonderful experience together and they move ahead. Thank you very much. I think because of time, I have to wrap up. And I'm here for any questions.
I think we will jump the question part because you've exceeded more than 15 minutes. And don't worry, I'll give your title back. Susie will take the project manager back and I'll give you coordinator. And now we'll introduce our last speaker, a very powerful woman. You can, of course, ask questions to Benny in a side talk because we have people who are actually leaving.
Yeah, I will try to make the introduction as fast as possible, even though it's really difficult to wrap it up that huge career with. I would like to ask you to welcome our next guest, Lina Chawaf. She is a journalist and she worked in radio since long time ago. I grew up hearing what she was producing in Syria. She was one of the co-founder of Rozana FM, which active from France and broadcast also in Syria. She have been awarded the Freedom of the Press Award by Report Without Border for her independent career in 2018. Please welcome Lina Chawaf.
Good evening. I think everybody is tired now. I'm not gonna talk a lot. Just wake up a little bit with me. As Anna said, we are Radio Rosanna. We are Syrian radio. We are targeting our audience, of course, inside Syria and outside Syria. By the way, the ranking of Syrian in Germany is the third ranking in Rosanna. We reach 9 million listeners till now online. How we do this? We create something, a lot of things like to engage the audience more and more through our platform and to bring the audience to the radio. We all know that all the young people now is going through digital media, so we try to produce our content in 360 degrees. This is what we call. So we reproduce our content in many platforms and like broadcasting in many platforms. If you scan this with your mobile, please, you will find you can scan everybody. Like you can scan the QR and you can play the game that we create in our platform to make awareness, more awareness to our audience and engage them. And not just inform them, we let the audience even play game and get information and awareness and even test themselves how information they have about something. Anas, can we see the link, please? This is the game that we did it according to the breast cancer for women, and we ask many questions through this game. The question, as you see, they play. This is the first question. So there is a question, you answer, and you play this game. The first question, second question. Like, I think each game has different question. We can go, like, because we can make anything. So at the end, you will have a marks, and you will find yourself how much you get as mark, and you get information at the same time. You recognize how much information you have about something. So this is something we do, and because of this kind of as I said, reproducing content. Of course, this is the same content we broadcast on radio, but we reproduce on our social platform. So we could be able to reach 9 million till now. If we go to the presentation, Anas, please, first, I'm gonna show you some story we do about, like, for example, like early marriage for the girl. Like you see, education campaign, it's not only for inside, because as we know, even people that they are leave the country and live here, they stick with their tradition and their idea in the country. So if we click, Anas, to watch, click here. Can we click in?
اشتغل معها بنفس مشغل الخياط. خطبها واحد من اللي بيشتغلوا بالمعمل اسمه محمود. امبارك ما عملته. بس لحظة ريما كمان عمرها 15 سنة. يعني
Of course, you will not understand, it's Arabic, but it's, I just want to show you how we reproduce. This is another way, it's not a game. We produce picture, we call it motion graphic. So it's a sound, we can put it on podcast. So this kind of content, we really spread it everywhere in all our like digital media. I don't want to say more. Maybe we can see another things, Anas. I don't want to make it long. Another one, yeah. For example, this one, it's a real story shared by one audience called the radio and told her story, and she was crying. And then we create her story as motion graphic and as docudrama and in the podcast, and as you see. So it's a video too, but we will not, it's in Arabic. So just to have an idea how we reproduce our content. We as immigrant here in Europe or everywhere in the world, they always ask us, where do you feel your home? And I think it's a difficult question, but we, the media, the journalists, we try to bring the audience to their nostalgia, but at the same time to their reality, present reality, and their new society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lina. That was really, really a powerful closing. That's all we had. This was the topic, looking back, thinking ahead, obviously. Statements, 6 statements from 6 individuals talking about their work through media or media. It's been 3 days in Hamburg. Personally, I'm excited. I really learned a lot, made a lot of networking. We say, as I would tell him, bros, you don't do well. Here is somebody, Larry, that has somehow mentored some of us, including myself. Here is someone who will call me, like, stay with me on the phone for like 1 hour, 2 hours, just to make sure that I do the right thing on the Nimas Bantaba or for the next step. So it's not just having us here for a conference, but he has been doing a lot on the ground. And I am grateful to people like Laurie and many, many others who actually are there just to make sure that they see me and most of me alike have gotten to another level. We're not gonna keep you again. It has been a long day, a long 3 days.
I won't hold you more, but I would like to, first of all, thanks all of you for your coming, for your contribution, for your patience, and I would like to thank also Cam Nagal technician, everybody helped associated to make this conference happening. I would like to make huge thanks to our chief, Dari McCoy, for his bringing us all together in this stage. I would like to give him the mic for the last words. Thank you so much.
Well, I have nothing. I'll just speak for two things. Thank you all for coming, because it's the trust and the friendship that made all of you come. I know half of you here. So thank you for that. And we believe in what we are doing. There's a lot of work to do. I am getting tired. Really, to be really frank, I'm getting tired. And this is when you see me scream on you guys based on every details, is because I will leave it for you guys very soon. And you have to do it more better than myself. That's why I push, I do everything, I want to make it perfect because it's an image thing. You heard what Vikram said some days ago. We are the ones who will improve our image. Nobody will do it for us. So please, if I've offended anybody, I'm sorry. Thank you for all coming, and let's have fun and network outside. Thank you. See you next time.
And hopefully we have more of Larry Makole making what we are doing. Thank you.